Hello, this is Mikey Mike slash Grandpa coming to you live on my YouTube station. As you can see, I got my polar hat on. I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We've been known as the polar capital of winter. Oh, wow. This is good. Thank you very much, sir. There's a few topics I want to talk about. One of them is homelessness. As you know, I live in Minneapolis. Um, One day I was on my way downtown on my bike, and as I'm going, I found this person who was homeless on the side of the wall by a store. I can't remember what store it was, but he was sitting there, and I sat down with him and struck up a conversation. And as we talked, I asked him, "Would you like a cigarette?" So I gave him a couple of cigarettes. And as he's sitting there, I decided to talk to him a little bit. We talked. Come to find out, he's homeless. And I had some food on me, which I give to people time to time who are homeless, who live on the street. And I gave him a can of chicken noodle soup, and the chunks of chicken were really thick. And I had a bottle of water, and I had a Snickers and a nice hat. I had a really nice gear hat. It costed a lot of money, but still yet. Here goes more of the story where it thickens. Anyways, I'm sitting there, and I offered him some food. And he said he took it happily, and I went to give it to him. And it's one of the cans that open up real easy when you open it. He was so hungry and he was starving. He was too weak to open this can of chicken noodle soup. So I said, "Sir, I will help you open this can of chicken noodle soup." And I opened it for him. And once I handed it to him, he snatched it and started drinking this thing like water. And the chunks of chicken were so thick, he was choking on them. I was trying to tell him, slow down. And I had this Gatorade on me, and I says, "Here, take my Gatorade, drink it before you choke yourself." Anyways, he wouldn't even drink the Gatorade. He was so hungry, he started drinking the chicken noodle soup and choking. Finally, he took a sip, and this brother man, this guy he was Caucasian, had not bald hair, but he had short hair. It was shaved. And this brother man was riding a bike on his bike, and I laid my bike to the side. And this brother man had a banana, some mandarins, and some water. And I said, "Sir, could you please help feed this man? He is homeless and he is starving." Well, anyways, the brother man, he was happy. He was happy to do this. He had his own bike, so he was doing all right. And we handed the food to him, the mandarins and the banana. Excuse me. And the water. And the brother man asked him, somehow he could tell he was in the military. And he asked this guy who was a vet in the military, he says, were you in the military? He says, "Yes." And you know what struck me the most? He said he was a Navy SEAL, people. Okay? He fought for his country. The Navy SEALs are one of the top leading people in our military in America, whatever's left of it. And this man was living on the street. Though he was a vet for America, and they put him on the streets. He had nothing coming from the VA. He couldn't go to a place and sleep. He was living on the streets. Is this how we treat our vets? I mean, I'm not trying to get sticky with all vets. There are some that, have it nice and stuff like that. But I mean, there are a lot of vets, and I found out some of the YouTubes I've done about people being disabled. There are a lot of vets who are disabled out there who need help, need guidance. I mean, they fought for our country. They gave us what little freedom we have left, And that's just one of the things I want to, let you know from Mikey Mike slash Grandpa how I'm viewing these things as I go through my daily life. Poverty is one of those things we need to definitely eradicate. We need nobody to be on poverty, nobody to be poor, nobody to be without food, especially kids. When I was a kid growing up, I was poor. I mean, there are times we couldn't eat for days. But we'd go to the Care and Share. We would get our government cheese, a big block of government cheese. We'd live off that. We used to make our homemade macaroni and cheese with that, and that would last us a couple of days between four of us in the family: my sister, me, my brother, my mom. Anyways, maybe I miss up with the number, but I've been there and I know what it feels like to go hungry. I mean, now I'm doing okay. I have something I can eat. I got a place to lay my head. But there are people out there that don't got a place to lay their head. They need the help. So, as what I'm saying, help somebody. If you got more than you need, or you have enough to help somebody else with something that they don't have, some food, maybe even some clothing. And I know there are places where they do this, but some people can't reach these places. So try and provide when you see someone down and out. Don't judge them because they don't have nothing, because they're human. They have emotions. But where I'll go with this more into it, the coronavirus, it's an epidemic that's striking our country. And it's something sad to see at a moment like this in our country. We are being dominated by a virus that attacks everybody. I've heard from some people that they're going to shut the country down again, and that means jobs will be stopped. So if we can, as a community, come together and help one another, I mean, be nice to somebody. Maybe after tonight when I get off and talk to my new friends, if I'm meeting new friends, or if I know you, or my loved ones, or family, or those that are my neighbors, come together. Well, at least one day when you wake up tomorrow, be nice to somebody on the bus, or when you go into a gas station store to get gas and pay to buy some food or whatever. Say something nice to somebody. Tell them it's going to be okay. Especially when, we're human. We can see when people go through bad things and just say, hey, it's all right. And I congratulate everybody viewing this because you made it through a day with the coronavirus. And here you are listening to me. Congratulations. But there's another day. We're all fighting the same battle to stay alive. So please, when you're out in the community and you see someone's down or needs help, help them. And if you know somebody that you don't know very well, but you know them, they pass by, you say hi, but they're kind of alone to themselves, just say, hi, how you doing? You want to come over to my place? I'm making dinner, or, maybe we can talk, go see your family members, talk to your dad when you haven't talked to him, or a sister you haven't talked for a while, or an uncle, or a friend, or an ex-girlfriend. I mean, that's kind of sticky talking to an ex-girlfriend. I still talk to my ex-girlfriend. We talk on mutual basis. We had a relationship and it was a good one, but, distance made it hard, and with the virus, it kind of separated us, because, we all have our needs and wants. You really don't want to be around somebody and go home to an environment where you have to be around people or children or your loved ones and give it to somebody else. But be who you can be as a citizen, and share your care with people in the world, because it means a lot to somebody who has nothing or needs someone to talk to, or a vet that needs help. So I ask the community, if you see these people, help them, be there, guide them. If you have the money to give to somebody to buy a McDonald's or whatever, do it. Just do it. And I'm sure, people have money. People have nice cars. Some people have nice clothes, but there are people that don't. There are people who have, cancer. Older people have cancer. And one thing I want to talk about, when I worked at a Unique Thrift out in New Hope, not New Hope, but out in Northeast Minneapolis. I remember I used to come to work on time. I like to be to work on time. I'm very impeccable. I like to be there, ready to work, kind of, get myself prepared for work that day and ready to work and do the best that I can be at work. And I was sitting in a chair, which is right across from the jewelry, and the cash registers are off to the right. And this old man sat down with me and he says, I'm 88 years old. And I go, oh, wow. I hope I reach to be 88 and have many grandkids. I have 5 grandkids. I want to have many great, great, great grandkids, and so forth and so on. That makes a grandfather feel good. You get to spoil them. I try to spoil my grandkids. But I'm sitting next to him and he says, I'm 88 years old and I want to die. And I go, why? Why? He goes, I'm too old to get my pain medications, they say. I can buy them, he says, but they won't give them to him because he's too old. And that's why he wanted to die. For some particular reason, I kind of sat back and started thinking, what am I going to say to this person who cannot get pain medications because he's too old and he wants to die? I mean, how do you compute that? And he was a white person. He was Caucasian. And for some reason, older lady came by on her cart. When I was looking at you have carts that you can put your clothes in or your plates, whatever you would like to purchase. And she went strolling by, older lady, about his age. And I kind of thought to myself, is that his wife? And I go, sir, is that your lovely wife? And he goes, yes, it is. And right when he told me that, a light went up and I went, that's your reason to stay alive for her. She would be lost without you, I told him. He looked at me, got up, and walked away. And I'm sure in all of our lives, we find things like that happen. So, if you can say the right thing, instead of just pushing somebody off and say, hey, I don't want nothing to do with you, help them. We are all capable as people and citizens of America that can help people. Poverty, I mean, that's a big one, and we need for nobody to be in poverty. I mean, I'm thankful for who I am and the friends I hang around with and the people I meet along the way. But there are other countries where people live in shacks, and we can help more than just the people in our own state, in our backyard, but across the seas. And this virus is everywhere. And like I was saying, we must come together as people and to work together in harmony. We work together in harmony, things will get better. Things will change. I promise you. But we must work together. You see this is my winter hat because, like I was saying, it's getting cold in Minnesota. So I'm preparing for winter. You never know in Minnesota what the weather's going to be like. I know, like I said, they call us the polar bear of winter because we are. I mean, right about in Minnesota that it snowed in Minnesota. My birthday's coming up. Woo! 51. I'll be 51 years old. Oh my God, I can't wait. I've made it 5 centuries, 5 centuries in 1 year. So, I mean, I'm really, not centuries, I mean decades. My fault. Sorry about that. Decades. So I'm another 50 years, I'll be a century old. Oh God. Actually, I can't. Well, anyways, I'm really happy. My birthday's coming. I'm 51. I've made it so far. I'm really happy. And this is my polar hat for this winter. I've been known, I don't mean to change the subject. I don't want to be all, in your face about stuff. So there's a little good time here, and not really, because winter is always cold in Minnesota. You never know. No matter what year you think it's going to be like when winter comes, you never know it, because it could be a pile of snow or it could be 40 below windshield, blizzards, and all this stuff. When I worked at McDonald's, I mean, God, I took the bus and I would freeze at the bus stop. And I could just walk down the street to Caribou and wait inside. But I was so worried about getting to work on time and not missing the bus, because sometimes when you waited in Caribou, the bus would go by and I wouldn't get out there in time because it was so cold and I want to stay in the warm. So I always sat at the bus stop, like a block away from Caribou and a block away from my house, just to make sure I got to work. I loved working at McDonald's. McDonald's was my place. In my first stage, I think I've told some of my listeners, McDonald's was my first stage. And I loved working at McDonald's. The customers, I loved the customers. That's one reason what kept me working at McDonald's. There were other difficulties, but McDonald's, I love for the customers. Like I said before, it became a family setting, so forth and so on. But it was why I stayed. Now I'm doing what I'm doing now. And I'm a writer. I've been writing several books. More will be coming. I may even try putting a book I'm working on right now. It's called, oh, come on. I've got so many books I've been writing. It's called, I'll tell you about the Mortals with Charles in it, levitating and stuff. I'm going for 250 pages on that book. It sounds really good. I went over it today. It sounds really good. So, but anyways, I'm going through Amazon. I'll probably publish it, and then you can check it out if you would like to, and I hope you like it. But anyways, back to poverty. I've always wanted to represent in Congress. And the first things I would work on are poverty, the virus itself. I'd be more and helping those across the seas. I would love to help people out on the other side of the country from America with some of the issues that how they live in poverty. I would find ways of manufacturing, I don't know, water, be able to teach people who don't have the ability to learn how to make running water to make them foundations, teach them tools of the trade. So when you teach someone, no matter who they are or where they come from or what gender or age, if you train and teach them, they will learn. So these other countries, I'd have people go and teach people how to make cold water, hot water for their houses, help to make structures so they can make structures for themselves. So there are places where you have to have rain seasons to grow certain food. And sometimes you get a rain season, then it's a drought. So I would be able to make where water would be in abundance so they can grow their crops. People can grow their crops in these countries that don't have that ability, and make generators so they can have electricity in their house, heat, air conditioning, because in a lot of the countries that have a lot of heat and humidity and dew point, air conditioning is needed. And even us in Minnesota, we have air conditioning because it gets quite hot in Minnesota, as well as it gets really cold as well. So I would help these countries that have nothing to have something to grow with and develop, as we've grown and developed in America since back when I can remember in my history lessons when a lot of people came to America. And I think it was the French that gave us the Statue of Liberty by pieces on a boat, and then they constructed it in New York. And then that settlers from other parts of the world would travel by boat, and they would become citizens in America. So a lot of a lot of people who have different ancestors, they were from people who came a long time ago and settled into the United States. And then we have what we have now: America, New York, California, Georgia, Texas. All the great states we have now is due to our ancestry. And not all of it was positive, if you get what I'm saying. I don't want to be bold or really in your face about it, but we weren't all taken by our will. So I don't want to get sticky with that situation. But still yet, I'm going to revert back. My time may be short here. I'm not sure. But if you can, I would really love for everybody to do tonight to let the world know that we are still thriving after this epidemic of the coronavirus. New York is the worst hit place. We do know that. So, is what I really would love for everybody to do is let your neighbors know. Like I said, call your dad, your lost sister you haven't talked to, or your brother, or your cousin, or your nephew, or your uncles, or your grandmom, or your grandpa, or call them and let them know how much that you love them. I know anybody on your list you can think of, an old friend you haven't talked to in who knows years. Call him or call her. Let them know I'm doing all right. So maybe they're in another state, you're in Minnesota, and you want to call them and say, "Hey, I'm still around. How are you doing? Can we talk more?" And then you could pick up your relations again with a lost friend that you cared for. I had a really close friend who was by me when I started writing my poems. I don't want to say his name, but he was a very nice person to me, and he helped me use a lot of my poems for charity events, which I held to help for disabled people. 'Cause as you do know, in my other views, I'm disabled, but I did a lot of written speeches for banquets, for funding for people that are disabled, for fun, for foundations and so forth, so they could actually, have income to help people. And the sad thing about this coronavirus, a lot of these places that disabled people were able to go and be involved with their society, even those that were seriously handicapped, I mean, like paralyzed, they don't they need help going to these places. And with the coronavirus, they're unable to go to these places where they can get the attention that they need, which is so sad. And I feel for them because I actually used to go to a drop-in for people that were disabled, and I would attend that. We would do events. I'd bring my writing as I was becoming more readily into my writing and growing from it, learning from it. I needed help, and I still do. I mean, because this is new to me, and I know you're new to me like this. So, but I mean, think about those that don't have, and help those that don't have. I mean, I would really love that. I like to be a loving person, and think of the best for all people. And I am a Christian. I'm a man of God and son of Jesus. I believe he is the son of God. And there are many different religions out there, and I'm learning that living where I'm at. But as long as we believe in one creator, that's good enough. There are people that don't believe, but I mean, there are people that do too. So we all matter, no matter what it is. So, like I said, call somebody you haven't called for a long time, or just check up on friends. Say, hey, yeah, just thinking about you, so I gave you a call and see how you were doing, and just let them know that you're there and you love them. Uh, and tomorrow, if you could do a big thing for me, like I said earlier, talk to somebody on the bus. Talk to somebody when you go to a store or a club. Wear your mask on. Hey, how you doing? I'm doing well today. I mean, how are you doing? I'm doing good. My family. And so have conversation. It doesn't have to be big talk. It can be small talk. And one thing I really would love everybody to do tonight when I get off is just turn on all your lights, turn up your stereo. I mean, bang whatever you can, pans, whatever. I mean, the whole world. I was actually tuning in on my cell phone once, and they had a live DJ concert in another country or a state because the sun was still up. And the DJ was just thumping away some good music. People were out singing, and I was getting live feed of people who were partying, having a good time, enjoying what we have now due to the coronavirus. And I mean, if you could do this for Mikey Mike / Grandpa, just let the world know that we made it tonight. We made it tonight. We made it through this day tonight. We are survivors. If you're watching this, or even if you're not watching this, let the world know we matter. I mean, even if fire trucks can just, turn on their sirens loud. Whoever can make the loudest noise, let's just go for it, man. I'm serious. All you out there, throw a voice up there. Let the world, let people know we're around, and we're not going to go. No, we're going to fight this. together. Okay? We're going to fight this together. All of us. We will be victorious. We will win the battle against the coronavirus. I feel this. So with that message, Mikey Mike / Grandpa, I'm ending. Do I hit end? Hey. Do I hit end? End? Is it done?
You're supposed to end. When you say end stream, then I'll delete for